Okay, now we come to Sutta 135, Chula Kamma Vibhanga Sutta, the shorter exposition of karma or action. This is a very important sutta concerning karma vibhaka. A very, very important sutta. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was living at Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anatha Pindika's spa. Then the Brahmin student, Subha, Todeya's son, went to the Blessed One and exchanged greetings with him. When this courteous and amiable talk was finished, he sat down at one side and asked the Blessed One, Master Gotama, what is the cause and condition why human beings are seen to be inferior and superior? For people are seen to be short-lived and long-lived, sickly and healthy, ugly and beautiful, uninfluential and influential, poor and wealthy, low-born and high-born, stupid and wise. What is the cause and condition, Master Gotama, why human beings are seen to be inferior and superior? And the Buddha said, student, beings are owners of their action, heirs of their action. They originate from their actions, are bound to their actions, have their actions as their refuge. It is action that distinguishes beings as inferior and superior. Stop here for a moment. Here action is a translation for kamma. Kamma is intentional action that can be done through the body, speech and mind. So these few things the Buddha says, owners of their karma, heirs to their karma, etc. is what we chant every day. Kamma sakomi, kamma dayado, kamma yoni, kamma bandhu, kamma patisarana. This one. So this Brahmin student Subha is asking the Buddha why people in this world can be seen to be so different. Some have good qualities, some have bad qualities. It's only an intelligent person will think, will question why people must be like that. Suppose you are born and you have a short life, maybe at a young age you have cancer, or all your life you are sick, or you're born ugly, or you're born into a poor family where it's so hard to find a living, or you're born stupid. Then you have reason to ask, why should I be born like that? Then you might want to complain. If you didn't know that it's your own fault, that you inherit what you did from the past. So that's why the Buddha says that beings are owners of their actions, heirs to their actions. We inherit our actions. That's why we are born in these different ways. And he said, I do not understand in detail the meaning of Master Gotama's statement, which he spoke in brief, without expounding the meaning in detail. It would be good if Master Gotama would teach me the Dhamma so that I might understand in detail the meaning of Master Gotama's statement. Then student, listen and attend closely to what I shall say. Yes, sir, the Brahmin student Subha replied. The Blessed One said, Here, student, some man or woman kills living beings and is murderous, bloody-handed, given to blows and violence, merciless to living beings. Because of performing and undertaking such action on the dissolution of the body after death, he reappears in a state of deprivation, in an unhappy destination, in perdition, even in hell. But if on the dissolution of the body after death, he does not reappear in a state of deprivation, in an unhappy destination, in perdition, in hell, but instead comes back to the human state, then wherever he is reborn, he is short-lived. That is the way, student, that leads to short life. Namely, one kills living beings and is murderous, bloody-handed, given to blows and violence, merciless to living beings. But here, student, some man or woman, abandoning the killing of living beings, abstains from killing living beings. With rod and weapon laid aside, gentle and kindly, he abides compassionate to all living beings. Because of performing and undertaking such action on the dissolution of the body after death, he reappears in a happy destination, even in the heavenly world. But if on the dissolution of the body after death, he does not reappear in a happy destination in the heavenly world, but instead comes back to the human state, then wherever he is reborn, he is long-lived. This is the way, student, that leads to long life. namely abandoning the killing of living beings. One abstains from killing living beings. With rod and weapon laid aside, gentle and kindly, one abides compassionate to all living beings. Stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha says that if a person frequently kills, murderous, bloody-handed, given to blows and violence, merciless, such a person normally would go to hell. But sometimes, if for some reason, because of maybe some supporting karma, or maybe at the moment of dying, he thought of some good karma, and he happens to be born in the human realm, then he is short-lived, just like some children. They are born when they are 1 year old or 2 years old or 3 years old. They get cancer, leukemia, and then their life will end. But on the other hand, if a person is compassionate and does not kill living beings, then he will have long life. You can find some people with very long life. Here, students, some man or woman is given to injuring beings with the hand, with a cloth, with a stick, or with a knife, because of performing and undertaking such action on the dissolution of the body after death. He reappears in a state of deprivation, etc. But if instead he comes back to the human state, then wherever he is reborn, he is sickly. This is the way, student, that leads to sickliness or sickness. Namely, one is given to injuring beings with the hand, with a cloth, with a stick, or with a knife. But here, student, some man or woman is not given to injuring beings with the hand, with a cloth, with a stick, or with a knife, because of performing and undertaking such action on the dissolution of the body after death. He reappears in a happy destination. But if instead he comes back to the human state, then wherever he is reborn, he is healthy. This is the way, student, that leads to health. Namely, one is not given to injuring beings with the hand, with a cloth, with a stick, or with a knife. Stop here for a moment. So here, some people, they are violent in nature. What we call ngao ching, gu khe, easily stirred up to violence. Such people, because they harm others, they beat others with a cloth, with a hand, with a knife, etc. Then injure others, make others sick. Then they also become very sickly when they come into the human rebirth. You can see some people, their health is very bad from the day they are born until they die. On the other hand, those who don't injure others, you find some people in the world are extremely fit. Like you see some of these footballers, these people who compete in the Olympics. Strange, you think, how come they are so fit? Here, students, some man or woman is of an angry and irritable character. Even when criticized a little, he is offended, becomes angry, hostile, and resentful, and displays anger, hate, and bitterness. Because of performing and undertaking such action, he reappears in a state of deprivation. But if instead he comes back to the human state, then wherever he is reborn, he is ugly. This is the way, student, that leads to ugliness. Namely, one is of an angry and irritable character and displays anger, hate, and bitterness. But here, student, some man or woman is not of an angry and irritable character. Even when criticized a little, he is not offended, does not become angry, hostile, and resentful, and does not display anger, hate, and bitterness. Because of performing and undertaking such action, he reappears in a happy destination. But if instead he comes back to the human state, then wherever he is reborn, he is beautiful. This is the way, student, that leads to being beautiful. Namely, one is not of an angry and irritable character, and does not display anger, hate, and bitterness. Stop here for a moment. There are some people very bad temper, easily blows up, becomes angry, hostile, resentful. Such people, when they are angry, they have a fierce face, and his fierce face is not a beautiful face, it's an ugly face. If they do that constantly every day, it sets this pattern of the face, so that next time they are born, they are ugly. On the other hand, there are some people, they have a very pleasant character. Even when you say something to annoy them, they just smile and laugh. Such people are very sweet, so they are born very sweet. That's why we say in Malay, muka manis, sweet face. Also, like in English, you say that some people are called sugar, because they are so sweet like sugar. Here, students, some man or woman is envious, one who envies, resents, and begrudges the gains, honor, respect, reverence, salutations, and veneration received by others. Because of performing and undertaking such action, he reappears in a state of deprivation. But if instead he comes back to the human state, then wherever he is reborn, he is uninfluential. This is the way, student, that leads to being uninfluential. Namely, one is envious. One is envious, resentful, begrudges the gains, honor, respect, salutations, veneration received by others. But here, students, some man or woman is not envious, one who does not envy, resent, and begrudge the gains, honor, respect, reverence, salutations, and veneration received by others. Because of performing and undertaking such action, he reappears in a happy destination. But if instead he comes back to the human state, then wherever he is reborn, he is influential. This is the way, student, that leads to being influential. Namely, one is not envious towards the gains, honor, respect, reverence, salutations, and veneration received by others. Stop here for a moment. So some people, they have a very small heart. And because of that, when people get honor, respect, gains means like coming to a lot of money, property, etc. This person is resentful, is jealous. So such a person, because he's small-hearted, next time he comes back to the human realm, then he is uninfluential, born into a poor family, and even when he grows up, he's of no account. Nobody knows him, nobody wants to know him. On the other hand, if a person is big-hearted, when he sees others becoming rich, or have a lot of property, or have a lot of respect, I guess some title, Dato or something, he's not jealous, he's not resentful, he's happy with others. Such a person, when he comes back, he's influential in life. Everybody likes him. He's an influential person. Here, students, some man or woman does not give food, drink, clothing, carriages, garlands, scents, unguents, beds, dwelling, and lamps to recluses or Brahmins. Because of performing and undertaking such action, he reappears in a state of deprivation. But if instead he comes back to the human state, then wherever he is reborn, he is poor. This is the way, student, that leads to poverty. Namely, one does not give food, drinks, clothing, carriages, garlands, scents, unguents, beds, dwelling, and lamps to recluses or Brahmins. But here, students, some man or woman gives food, drinks, clothing, bedding, dwelling, etc. to recluses or Brahmins. Because of performing and undertaking such action, he reappears in a happy destination. But if instead he comes back to the human state, then wherever he is reborn, he is wealthy. This is the way, student, that leads to wealth. Namely, one gives food, drinks, clothing, beds, dwelling, etc. to recluses or Brahmins. Stop here for a moment. So if a person is generous, gives to others what others need, then it's easy to come back to great wealth. When he comes back as a human being, he is born in a wealthy family, or even if he's not born into a wealthy family, when he works, then he becomes very wealthy. And here is mentioned, he gives all these things to recluses or Brahmins, meaning monks or ascetics, because when a person does charity, if the person he gives to is virtuous, then the gift is more meritorious. There's greater blessings. And also if the giver himself is virtuous, is also very meritorious. Also the Buddha mentioned in some sutta that when a person gives, he should be very happy. Before giving he should be happy. While giving also he should be very happy. And after giving also he should be very happy. And because of this happiness, when the wealth comes back to him, he will be very happy and enjoy the wealth. Here, students, a man or woman is obstinate and arrogant. He does not pay homage to one who should receive homage, does not rise up for one in whose presence he should rise up, does not offer a seat to one who deserves a seat, does not make way for one for whom he should make way, and does not honor, respect, revere, and venerate one who should be honored, respected, revered, and venerated. Because of performing and undertaking such action, he reappears in the state of deprivation. But if instead he comes back to the human state, then wherever he is reborn, he is low-born. This is the way, student, that leads to low birth. Namely, one is obstinate and arrogant, and does not honor, respect, revere, and venerate one who should be honored, respected, revered, and venerated. But here, student, some man or woman is not obstinate and arrogant. He pays homage to one who should receive homage, rises up for one in whose presence he should rise up, offers a seat to one who deserves a seat, makes way for one for whom he should make way, and honors, respects, reveres, and venerates one who should be honored, respected, revered, and venerated. Because of performing and undertaking such action, he reappears in a happy destination. But if instead he comes back to the human state, then wherever he is reborn, he is high-born. This is the way, student, that leads to high birth. Namely, one is not obstinate and arrogant, etc., and honors, respects, reveres, and venerates one who should be honored, respected, revered, and venerated. Stop here for a moment. In this world, we can see different people are born in different states. Some are born in the lowest level of society, where the family is poor and looked down by others. On the other hand, you can see some people, they are born maybe into a royal family, becomes a prince or a princess, and even have a chance to become the king or the queen. So why so much difference? This is the reason. It's strange to say, sometimes you can see people come from very low level of society, and you would expect them to be very humble, but strangely enough, you see some of them still very arrogant, even they are born in a very low, because of this habit from the past life, being arrogant, not willing to respect others. Even when they are born into a very low level of society, they still act very arrogant. Habit is still there. Here, students, a man or woman does not visit a recluse or a Brahmin and ask, "Prabhu sir, what is wholesome? What is unwholesome? What is blamable? What is blameless? What should be cultivated? What should not be cultivated? What kind of action will lead to my harm and suffering for a long time? What kind of action will lead to my welfare and happiness for a long time?" Because of performing and undertaking such action, he reappears in a state of deprivation. But if instead he comes back to the human state, then wherever he is reborn, he is stupid. This is the way, student, that leads to stupidity. Namely, one does not visit a recluse or Brahmin and ask such questions. But here, student, some man or woman visits a recluse or a Brahmin and asks, "Prabhu sir, what is wholesome? What is unwholesome? What is blamable? What is blameless? What should be cultivated? What should not be cultivated, etc.? What kind of action will lead to my welfare and happiness for a long time?" Because of performing and undertaking such action, he reappears in a happy destination. But if instead he comes back to the human state, then wherever he is reborn, he is wise. This is the way, student, that leads to wisdom. Namely, one visits a recluse or Brahmin and asks such questions. Stop here for a moment. You see here, the Buddha says, the way to wisdom is to ask these type of questions, What is wholesome, what is unwholesome, what is blamable, what is blameless, what should be cultivated, what should not, what kind of karma will lead to my harm, what kind of karma will lead to my welfare. In other words, all these questions are concerned the Dhamma. So if a person is interested in the Dhamma, he learns things that are pertinent to your well-being, which are the most important as far as you are concerned. This is the way that leads to wisdom. And it's not asking, like for example, other questions like who's the most popular actor actor now, who's the most beautiful actress, who's the fastest man in the world, or questions about science or general knowledge. But it is questions about the Dhamma. These are important things that we should know in the world concerning karma vipaka and all these things. So if a person is not interested in the Dhamma, he will be born stupid. In other words, if he doesn't know the Dhamma, he will conduct himself not in accordance with Dhamma. So he might be reborn in the animal realm or the hell realm or the ghost realm. Whereas if a person, he knows the Dhamma, he knows what is wholesome, what is unwholesome, etc. Then he conducts himself according to Dhamma, and he will get a good rebirth. Such is a wise person. Thus, student, the way that leads to short life makes people short-lived. The way that leads to long life makes people long-lived. The way that leads to sickliness makes people sickly. The way that leads to health makes people healthy. The way that leads to ugliness makes people ugly. The way that leads to being beautiful makes people beautiful. The way that leads to being uninfluential makes people uninfluential. The way that leads to being influential makes people influential. The way that leads to poverty makes people poor. The way that leads to wealth makes people wealthy. The way that leads to low birth makes people low born. The way that leads to high birth makes people high born. The way that leads to stupidity makes people stupid. The way that leads to wisdom makes people wise. Beings are owners of their actions, student, heirs of their actions. They originate from their actions. They are born from their actions now. Are bound from their actions, have their actions as their refuge. It is action that distinguishes beings as inferior and superior. When this was said, the Brahmin student Subha, Tudeya's son, said to the Blessed One, "Magnificent Master Gotama, magnificent Master Gotama. Master Gotama has made the Dhamma clear in many ways, as though he were turning upright what had been overturned, revealing what was hidden, showing the way to one who was lost, or holding up a lamp in the dark for those with eyesight to see for. I go to Master Gotama for refuge, and to the Dhamma, and to the Sangha of monks. Let Master Gotama remember me as a lay follower who has gone to him for refuge for life." That's the end of the sutta. So you see this last part now. This Subha is a son of Tudeya. Tudeya is mentioned in the previous sutta as one of the very prominent Brahmins, wealthy and very knowledgeable Brahmins. And this Subha, after Tudeya's son, Subha, after learning the Dhamma from the Buddha, he took refuge in the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. That means he became a Buddhist. So the Buddha, during his time, led many people from different religions into Buddhism. So I stop here for tonight. If you have any things to ask or to discuss, we can discuss.
Question is, when we see all the natural disasters in the world, when floods, landslides, earthquakes, a lot of people, because of the karma of past life, these are unfortunate, but they are born in such a destination.
If you say these natural disasters, I believe these natural disasters have occurred all the time in the world. If we go back into the past, we find, for example, like now we're comparing tsunami. We think tsunami is terrible, but years ago, you had these volcanoes erupting, like Krakatoa in Indonesia many years ago erupted. They had also caused a tsunami, except that people have forgotten about it. And there were periods which were worse than what is happening now. For example, the dinosaurs were wiped out from the face of the earth because of this calamity. So it has happened all the time. For example, you look into the history of China, there's so much suffering, much worse than now. So what we are experiencing now is very mild compared to before. So don't think it is due to karma. The world is such, the Buddha says, because of impermanence, the world is suffering. So that's the nature of the world. You cannot change the nature of the world. All you can change is your own self. When you change yourself and you progress in the Dhamma, you become a happy man. No matter what happens outside, you are happy.
They were born into such a state, where this sort of things occurs. But we in Malaysia, we are very fortunate. We don't have all these natures of life. Is it because of our karma, or is it just because that we were born or we don't know anything?
It's a combination sometimes. And if you understand the working of karma, you know that even when disasters occur, if your karma is good, you won't suffer so much as somebody whose karma is worse. But if a particular place they frequently suffer and suffer a lot, there could be that their karma is bad. So don't think about this. It's not so important. Okay, can we end here?